Have you ever felt like love was just beyond your reach? Like no matter what you do, how kind, generous, or available you are, true love seems to stay just out of sight? It's not that you haven't tried. You've likely poured yourself into relationships, into friendships, into moments where your heart was wide open. And yet something still feels off. Something still feels missing. There's this aching, nagging feeling deep inside that you can't seem to fill. You've given. You've hoped. You've waited. But love, the kind of love that feels real, whole, secure, remains distant. And if you're honest, there are moments when you wonder, is there something wrong with me? Erich Fromm didn't believe love was a mysterious force that only lucky people experience. He didn't think it was something you stumble into, like a chance encounter. No, he believed love was an art, a skill, a discipline. And more importantly, he believed that the reason most people never truly feel loved isn't because of how others treat them, but because of how they misunderstand what love really is. Because the hard truth is this: you will never feel truly loved, never feel that deep, anchored, soul-affirming connection until you learn how to love. And not just love someone else, but love yourself, love life, and love in a way that is active, not passive. Fromm's theory begins by dismantling the fairy tale we've been fed since childhood. We're taught to think that love is about finding the right person. That one magical person who sees us, accepts us, validates us, saves us. The soulmate, the missing piece. We search for them in dating apps, in late-night conversations, in fleeting glances from across a room. And when we don't find them, or worse, when we do, and it still feels empty, we think we've failed. We blame ourselves, or them, or the world. But Fromm believed this mindset is a trap, because it turns love into a transaction. It makes us believe that love is something we get, rather than something we do. That it's something owed to us for being good enough, attractive enough, charming enough. But love doesn't work that way. And when you approach it like that, all you find are shallow connections, fragile infatuations, and moments that break under the weight of real life. You can't receive love if you don't know how to give it. And you can't give love if you don't understand what it truly means to love. Most people confuse love with need. They don't fall in love with a person. They fall in love with how that person makes them feel. Seen, desired, safe. But what they really crave isn't the person. It's validation. It's relief from their loneliness. It's escape from their fears. And so they cling. They obsess. They suffocate. They demand love, thinking that it will fix them. But love that comes from need is not love. It's dependency. It's projection. It's the fear of being alone, wrapped in the language of romance. Fromm warned us about this. He said that most people chase after love like a consumer chasing after a product. They ask, how can I be lovable? What do I need to do to attract someone? They focus on packaging themselves, selling themselves, impressing others. But they never stop to ask the deeper question, am I capable of loving? Because love isn't about finding the right object. It's about developing the right capacity. And if that capacity doesn't exist in you, no amount of affection from someone else will ever feel like enough. You'll always feel insecure, always fear abandonment, always crave more than anyone can give. You'll sabotage relationships without knowing why. And in the quiet moments, when you're alone, you'll feel that gnawing emptiness return. The truth is, love begins not with another person, but with yourself. Not in a narcissistic, self-indulgent way, but in a real, disciplined, honest way. To love yourself means to take responsibility for your own life. To stop waiting for someone to complete you. To stop expecting others to fix your brokenness. It means to know your own value, not because someone told you, but because you did the hard work of discovering it. It means to accept yourself completely, even the parts you'd rather hide. Fromm said that love is an act of will, a choice, a practice. It's not about feelings. Feelings come and go. But love is deeper. Love is commitment. Love is presence. Love is discipline. And unless you cultivate that within yourself, you will always be chasing after love like a mirage. Think about how most people approach relationships. They fall in love with a version of someone, their charm, their body, their potential. But they don't really see the person. They project onto them what they want to see. They love the illusion. And when that illusion breaks, they fall out of love. Why? Because it was never real. It was fantasy, but real love doesn't happen in fantasy. It happens in reality, in flaws, in struggle, in moments where you want to run but choose to stay. Love is work, but not the kind of exhausting transactional work where you lose yourself trying to keep someone happy. No, it's the kind of work that requires self-awareness, courage, patience, forgiveness. Fromm outlined 4 core elements of love: care, responsibility, respect, and knowledge. If any of these are missing, it isn't love. It might look like love. It might feel like love. But it won't last. Care means being genuinely concerned for the other person's growth, not controlling them, not needing them to be a certain way, but caring about their well-being, their path, their truth. Responsibility means being accountable, not for their feelings, but for how you show up, for your actions, for your impact. Respect means allowing them to be who they are, not trying to change them, not molding them into your fantasy. And knowledge means truly seeing them, not just their surface, but their soul, their wounds, their fears, their dreams. Now ask yourself, do you offer these things to others? More importantly, do you offer them to yourself? Because if you don't care for yourself, if you don't take responsibility for your own healing, if you don't respect your own boundaries, if you don't know your own heart, then how can you expect anyone else to do it for you? The love you seek begins inside you, not in an abstract motivational sense, but in a grounded psychological reality. You are the origin of the love you crave, and until you become a source of love rather than a seeker of it, you will never feel truly loved. Not because others can't love you, but because you won't be able to receive it. Receiving love requires openness, vulnerability. But if your heart is closed, guarded, desperate, afraid, love cannot enter. You might meet someone wonderful. They might try to love you. But if you don't believe you are worthy, you will reject it. You will doubt it. You will test it. You will sabotage it. Because deep down, you're not ready to be loved. Not fully. Not honestly. Not without conditions. And the only way to become ready is to stop looking outward and start looking inward. Ask yourself, what part of me believes I don't deserve love? Where did I learn that love must be earned? What stories am I telling myself about what love is supposed to look like? Because these beliefs, these unconscious assumptions, are shaping your entire experience of love. And they are the invisible walls keeping love out. Fromm believed that modern society has made real love almost impossible. We're taught to chase success, appearance, image. We're bombarded with shallow ideals of romance, perfect bodies, perfect moments, perfect matches. But real love is messy, it's imperfect, it's human. And unless you're willing to embrace the imperfection, you will spend your life chasing an illusion. You'll hop from relationship to relationship, hoping that someone will finally make you feel whole. But no one can do that. Because that feeling of wholeness, it doesn't come from being loved. It comes from loving. And loving, Fromm said, is a creative act. It's an art, just like painting, or music, or writing. It takes discipline. It takes patience. It takes humility. Most people think that love should come naturally, that if it's hard, it must be wrong. But that's a lie. Real love is not easy, not because it's broken, but because it's real. Because it forces you to confront your ego, your fears, your past. Because it asks you to give without expecting, to stay when it's inconvenient, to grow when it's painful, and above all, to choose love even when you don't feel it. That's what makes it beautiful. That's what makes it powerful. And that's why so few people ever experience it. The real reason you don't feel loved has nothing to do with how lovable you are. It has everything to do with how much you've prepared your heart to give love. Because in giving love, not performing it, not pleasing people, but truly giving, you unlock the ability to receive it. That's the paradox. The more you chase love, the further it runs. But the more you become love, the more it finds you. Before we continue, I'd love to hear from you. Is there a part of yourself you've struggled to accept, or a moment when you realized you were chasing love to avoid facing something within? Share it in the comments. And if this has resonated with you, consider subscribing so you don't miss more thought-provoking topics like this. Let's keep going. There comes a moment, if you are brave enough to look inward, where you realize that the love you've been searching for was never something you were meant to find in another person. Not because people can't love you, but because no one can complete a process you've avoided within yourself. You begin to see that the desperate hunger to be loved, the craving for constant reassurance, the fear that people will leave, it all points to something unresolved inside you. A gap you've been trying to fill with other people's attention, approval, presence. But even when they offer it, it doesn't last. It doesn't satisfy. Because what you're really searching for is not love. It's connection. And connection begins with you being connected to yourself. This is what Fromm tried to explain when he said that love is not about having, it's about being. To love is to become something, a person who can live in truth, give without fear, and receive without shame. And to become this person, you must unlearn everything modern life has taught you about love. You must break the cycle that says love is earned through perfection. You must abandon the idea that someone else will rescue you. You must stop measuring your worth by who stays or who goes. Because that is not love. That is fear. That is ego. That is the child within you still asking, "Am I good enough now?" And until you tend to that child, until you look them in the eye and say, "You are already enough," nothing anyone says will ever reach you. You may have noticed that the people who are most desperate for love are often the ones who push it away. They become so consumed by needing it that they become impossible to love. Every action, every word becomes a test. Do you still love me? Will you leave? Am I safe? And they exhaust the relationship trying to prove what cannot be proven from the outside. That's the tragedy. When you do not love yourself, love becomes a threat. It feels foreign, untrustworthy, uncomfortable, and so you reject it. Not because you want to, but because you've never seen it modeled, because you've never felt at home in your own skin, and no one taught you how to trust the warmth of genuine affection without suspicion. To truly love, Fromm said, is to risk everything, to open yourself without guarantee. And that is terrifying, which is why most people never do it. They go halfway. They love when it's easy, when it's reciprocated, when it fits neatly into their schedule. But the moment discomfort arises, they pull back. They find reasons to walk away. They say, "It wasn't meant to be," when really they were just never ready to love fully. Because real love demands something deeper than emotion. It demands transformation. It forces you to become more honest, more vulnerable, more present. And unless you are willing to undergo that transformation, you will never experience the kind of love that heals. Think about your past relationships. How many of them ended not because of lack of attraction, but because of fear? Fear of being seen, fear of being hurt, fear of losing control. And how many of them began not because you were truly ready to love, but because you were afraid of being alone? We often enter relationships hoping they will rescue us from ourselves, that their love will erase our doubts, our pain, our loneliness. But another person can never do that work for you. They can walk beside you. They can support you. But they cannot carry the parts of you you've refused to face. That is your responsibility. And when you hand that over to someone else, you do not create a relationship. You create dependence, a prison with velvet bars. Fromm's theory was revolutionary because it shifted the entire concept of love from something you find to something you develop. He said that love is not a passive emotion, but an active power. It's not something that happens to you, it's something you create. And just like any creative act, it requires discipline, concentration, patience. You must practice it. You must struggle with it. You must fail and try again. Most people are willing to practice music, or art, or fitness. But when it comes to love, they expect it to work effortlessly, as if love should just appear and sustain itself. But love, like anything real, requires effort. It requires intention. This is why love cannot begin in fantasy. It must begin in reality. You must see yourself clearly, flaws and all, and still choose to show up with your whole heart. Not because you're perfect, but because you are committed. And the same goes for loving someone else. To love someone is to witness their imperfection and choose them anyway. Not to fix them, not to change them, but to walk beside them, to grow together, to support their journey without losing yours. That is real love. That is mature love. And most people never reach it because they are stuck in emotional childhood, expecting love to be given unconditionally while refusing to give it themselves. Fromm believed that society has infantilized our understanding of love. We are told that love is about being desired, that the more people want us, the more worthy we are. But this leads to anxiety, to performance, to obsession with appearance. We become consumed with being lovable instead of learning how to love. We look in the mirror and wonder if we're enough. We scroll through images, comparing ourselves to ideals. We chase validation from strangers, hoping it will soothe the emptiness. But it never does, because real love has nothing to do with how you look. Real love is not attracted to perfection. It's drawn to depth, to truth, to vulnerability. And you cannot offer those things if you don't know who you are beneath the roles you play. This is why the path to love is also the path to self-knowledge. You must understand your wounds, your defenses, your patterns. You must ask, why do I keep choosing people who don't love me back? Why do I chase those who hurt me and push away those who are kind? These questions are not comfortable. They don't come with easy answers, but they are necessary. Because without self-awareness, love becomes repetition. You keep living the same story, hoping for a different ending. But the story doesn't change until you do. There is a moment when you realize that the love you've been begging for, from partners, friends, parents, is the love you've refused to give yourself. And in that moment, something powerful happens. You stop begging. You stop performing. You stop contorting yourself into someone else's ideal, and you begin to build something new, a foundation, a truth, a home within yourself. This is where real love begins, in solitude, in silence, in the slow, uncomfortable work of becoming whole. And when you arrive at that wholeness, you no longer need love. You want it. You can receive it. You can give it. But it no longer defines you. It no longer controls you. And that is where freedom lives. Fromm said that mature love is union under the condition of preserving one's integrity. That means love is not fusion. It's not losing yourself in someone else. It's two complete people coming together, not to fill a void, but to share their fullness. That kind of love is rare, because it requires two people who have done the work, who have faced themselves, who have walked through fire and come out more compassionate, more grounded, more open. That kind of love does not come from luck. It comes from preparation, from practice, from pain. And it is the only kind of love that endures. So if you've been waiting for love, if you've been praying that someone will finally come and choose you, I invite you to ask a different question. Not, when will I be loved, but am I ready to love? Am I ready to give without losing myself? Am I ready to receive without doubting it? Am I ready to face the parts of me that are still afraid? Because love will not save you from yourself, but it will reveal you to yourself. And if you are willing to see what it shows you, to grow from what it mirrors, then love becomes something more than an experience. It becomes a path, a way of living, a way of being. You'll never be loved until you love, until you embody love, until love is no longer something you demand, but something you offer. And that begins with presence, with showing up, not as the version of yourself you think others want, but as who you really are. Messy, human, whole. That's where love lives. Not in fantasy, not in perfection, but in the brave, raw, honest act of being yourself and letting someone else be themselves too. When two people meet from that place, there is nothing more beautiful, nothing more sacred, nothing more true. And maybe you're still healing. Maybe you're still afraid. That's okay. Love doesn't require that you be perfect. It only requires that you be willing. Willing to learn. Willing to unlearn. Willing to let go of the stories that no longer serve you. Willing to choose love even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. That is the beginning. That is the doorway. And once you step through it, everything changes. Not because someone else made you whole, but because you remembered you already were. Love is not something you find. It's something you become. And the moment you become it, the world begins to mirror it back to you. Not always in the way you expect, and not only through romance, but through depth, connection, and peace at all. If this message resonated with you, if something clicked or stirred within you, then take a moment to reflect and share it with someone who may need to hear the same. And if you'd like to continue this journey into the deeper layers of psychology and self-awareness, be sure to like this video and subscribe, because this is just the beginning, and we're only getting started.